You see, when you look at Jeffrey Long's analysis, every time the person dies, when they come out of their body, they hang around the earth for a little while, maybe a few minutes or so, and I don't know how long, but eventually they go through a tunnel and they go to another world. Either they'll go to heaven or they'll go to hell. They go to a different location that's not on earth, which means that people should not be able to see their dead relatives when their dead relatives have been dead and gone for years. They shouldn't be able to contact them through a medium. Now, when you look at the typical analysis, right, of when people see ghosts of like a dead relative or something, here's one of the reasons why it's a demon giving the illusion of a dead relative, that it can't be really the dead relative because they're in a different location, you see, after they're dead. And I'm going to show you why. The ghost of the loved one, they usually don't show any enthusiasm of seeing their loved one. So if someone sees their dead grandmother that they haven't spoken to for years and years because they've been dead for years, the grandmother usually doesn't show signs of excitement. Oh, you can see me, and because put yourself in that person's shoe. You're so used to seeing nobody can see you. You can't communicate with your loved ones, and now they can see you. Wouldn't you be like glad and excited and want to hug them, try to communicate with them? That's usually not what happens. Sometimes people just see supposedly their dead relative, and the dead relative doesn't really pay that much attention to them, or they go and sit somewhere else or something. That's what you'll find. Or sometimes the ghost of the supposedly dead person might scare them and do things, horrible things, sometimes. Also, sometimes you'll have ghosts doing reenactments of their own deaths. Like maybe someone gets killed in a train, and then maybe someone sees the ghost dying of the person that got killed in the train, die like they're rehearsing their own death, like being killed by the train again over and over again, or they might see a ghost train or something, or this is just an example, or they'll hear certain things attributed to the person supposedly being killed. Do you not think that the ghost would have better things to do than to rehearse their own death? Why would they want to do that? It's like, for example, if someone got beat up in a pub, do you think that they're going to get their mates to come with them to the pub and go, hey, let's reenact me getting beat up again, in this pub? Why would anybody do that for? Why would you want to relive the trauma, right? But that's what you'll see is in analysis. You'll see ghosts doing reenactments, rehearsing their own deaths again. So again, it's just demons giving illusions of people. And then, of course, they find that spirits can imitate the living. So there's a little illustration there of how a demon can imitate a dead person or someone alive. Well, Brian Melvin also saw down in hell, he saw demons imitate people that were still alive on earth that hadn't died. And sometimes you'll find that in haunted houses, is that the spirit will give the illusion of someone that's still alive in the house to trick the person. It's demons. It's doing this. It's not the living dead. Because, how can a ghost of someone that's still alive be around when the person's still alive? You see where I'm going here, right? Which means that, so number one, they're going somewhere else, right, when they're dead. Through a tunnel, light at the end of the tunnel, go to another world, either heaven or hell. 2, no enthusiasm to see their loved ones. 3, the reenactments of their own deaths. 4, they sometimes imitate the living. So there's no ghosts of dead people walking this earth. That's what the facts are showing here. when you look into Brian Melvin's experience of him being down in hell, was that he saw demons. You know, when he was outside of the cube, looking into the cube, where the person that had died was in the cube. They would maybe think they were in a party or something like that, and they would have the demons would walk into the cube, pretending to, given the illusion of being people. So Brian Melvin would say that that from outside the cube, the illusion of the person was transparent, translucent. So you could slightly see through it, you know. But to the person in the cube, it would look physical, you know, and they would see them as being physical. But the demon would remain looking physical from outside the cube, but the illusion because the person can't see the demon, so they can only see the illusion. So the illusion would actually be in front of the demon. So even if the demon was small, the illusion might be about the size of a human being, you know. Or if the demon's really big, the person can't see the demon, but they'll see the illusion of the person. So it's like they're being hypnotized in a sense. Well, one of the things that you'll notice, right, when you look at some of these photographs of ghosts, right, supposedly of dead people, when the camera picks up on them, these images, you can see that they're slightly transparent. And sometimes the apparition of the spirit might look physical, like, you know, where you can actually see them literally looking like there really is a person there, but it's not really, it's just a demon given the illusion of... Now this is to do with the situation in America and Chicago about it's to do with Resurrection Mary at the Resurrection Cemetery in Chicago. Now, the situation that happened here was that a man was driving past, you know, he saw the bars. They eventually investigated the bars and they found the scorch marks on the bars and fingerprints as well. Now, so basically we find that a demon will be imitating her in the cemetery. Her name is Miss Mary Bregovy. You know, it could have also been, I don't know if that's how you say it. But anyway, they found the investigations. They found that the bars were bent. So we're talking about something of superhuman strength. We know that the demons down in hell have superhuman strength. and leaves scorch marks and fingerprints on the bars. Now this part here is a little bit tricky here, right? It says some people try to make out that maybe like the police officers are trying to make out that the truck backed into the bars and damaged them, and that's why they're bent, and that they were trying to fix it, so they were heating up the bars to try and put them back to normal again. And they were trying to make out that they was wearing gloves, and they were trying to, and that's why you get the fingerprints on it. It doesn't actually hold up, because one, when you heat up steel, right, you need something harder than the steel, like a hammer, to hammer it, right? You can't mold it with your own fingers, not unless you want to burn your fingers off, okay? Right? I mean, you just take a hot poker, you touch a bit of plastic, it will imprint on the plastic. Just like if you touch it, you're not going to imprint on the metal, it will imprint itself on you, leaving a scar of where you've been burned, right? You're not going to leave anything on the metal. It's not like clay, right? It doesn't make sense for how the fingerprints. But when they actually examined the fingerprints, they found that the fingerprints were almost like that of a child, right? And besides, wearing gloves, you're not going to leave fingerprints on anything if you're wearing gloves. I mean, that's the reason why burglars wear latex gloves, so they don't leave fingerprints. So wearing gloves, again, it's not going to make any sense to leave those fingerprints. But they actually examined the fingerprints, and there was like that of a child, and the fingerprints actually burned into the steel. That should not be possible, right? Now, when you analyze Mary Baxter's work and Brian Melvin's, is that the demons, when they touch you, they can. It feels like, Mary Baxter says, it feels like hot coals touching against your skin. You know, when the demons were grabbing her. So you're talking of superhuman strength and superhuman heat. So again, this is more evidence that this is a demon imitating a woman that's dead in the graveyard.